Many patients who describe themselves as tired, and there are many, or say that they're stiff or they're slow to recover, they're not simply dehydrated. They are intracellularly dehydrated. They could drink plenty of water, but it never makes it to the cell. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Asana Institute 10-Minute Training. Let me start with a simple question. If I told you that the most important nutrient for healing ourselves or our patients wasn't a vitamin, it wasn't a mineral, it wasn't a supplement, but it was something that you have access to every single day, would you believe me? I am, of course, talking, if you hadn't guessed in the title, about water. But not just drinking water, but cellular hydration. Because unless water gets inside the cell, where healing actually happens, it cannot fuel repair, it can't help with detoxification or energy production. So today we're going to look at why cellular hydration has really shown itself to be the foundation of healing. We're going to talk about what gets in the way of it, and we're going to highlight some strategies you can use with patients to dramatically improve recovery outcomes. So, why does cellular hydration actually matter? First off, let's talk about nutrient transport. Water is the carrier system of the body. It brings in glucose, amino acids, vitamins, minerals, oxygen. It also helps remove waste. Things in our body like lactic acid, carbon dioxide, toxins, things that build up when the body is repairing. Water helps to get rid of that. So think of hydration like a river running through town. A healthy river brings in food, supplies, medicine, and it carries away the garbage. But if that river dries up, suddenly the whole town suffers. And that is exactly what happens inside cells when hydration is low. Second, hydration improves electrical conductivity. Every cell in our body is a tiny battery. It maintains voltage across its membrane, and this electrical potential depends on water and electrolytes. When cells are hydrated, sodium, potassium, calcium, and magnesium can move easily, and signals travel quickly. This means stronger muscle contractions, faster nerve communication, and even clearer mental focus. In patients with chronic pain or fatigue, intracellular dehydration often shows up as sluggish nerve responses, or slower healing, and even resistance to therapies, including microcurrent therapy. And here's the key clinical insight here, guys, because many patients who describe themselves as tired, and there are many, or say that they're stiff or they're slow to recover, they're not simply dehydrated. They are intracellularly dehydrated. They could drink plenty of water, but it never makes it to the cell. I had a patient once who faithfully drank 8 glasses of water a day, but still foggy, exhausted, and stiff. But when you start to look at correcting electrolytes and reducing inflammation, her cells started to absorb water. And within weeks, she noticed more energy, more flexibility, and clarity. So what is the difference between simply drinking water and cellular hydration? Here's the difference that I think you need to communicate to patients. Systemic hydration is water in circulation and tissues. It affects blood pressure, urine output, and skin moisture. Cellular hydration is water inside the actual cell, the trillions of cells in our body, and it surrounds proteins, DNA, and mitochondria, and that's the hydration that drives healing. So what blocks water from entering the cells? There's 3 things. First off, electrolyte imbalance. Without the right sodium, potassium, magnesium ratio, water simply can't cross membranes. Number 2 is inflammation. Swollen, rigid membranes block aquaporins, which are the little gates in the cells that let water in. And third, certainly not least, is an acidic or toxic terrain. When the body is overloaded with toxins or runs acidic, the osmotic flow, gets disrupted. So This is something, as far as acidic, you're going to have to refer to some other trainings that I've done. But this is normally about diet. You can eat an alkaline diet and you're going to be less acidic. But as far as the toxins go, as we know, this can be many things. It can be mold. It can be just stress. It can be exposure to smoke or anything, alcohol. All of these things can be toxins. The best analogy I can kind of come up with here is if you imagine a sponge wrapped in plastic. Pouring more water on the sponge doesn't hydrate sponge, right? It just bounces off. That's kind of what happens when the body is consuming water, but it's not really absorbing it on a cellular level. So what strategies can we use to optimize cellular hydration? It can be challenging because obviously you have to work with different patients, but we want to optimize that hydration where it matters most, inside the cells. And to do this, first and foremost, we need to strike an electrolyte balance, encouraging our patients to eat mineral-rich foods. This will be things like leafy greens, so potassium and magnesium. Sea salt is a good one, Himalayan salt for sodium and trace minerals. Things like coconut water or bone broth are natural electrolyte sources instead of synthetic sports drinks like Gatorade and Powerade. And in many cases, magnesium supplementation is essential because most modern diets are deficient in magnesium. Now, the next thing we need to do is improve the membrane health. Cell membranes have to stay flexible to allow hydration. So omega-3 fats from flax, from chia or fish oils, these things all make membranes, make them fluid. And processed oils like corn, canola, soybean, these stiffen membranes. These block water entry. Reducing inflammation is always going to be a thing here, but lowering inflammation will reopen the water channels. Nutritionally, curcumin, berries, green tea, these help. But obviously also, key weapons we have here at our disposal is microcurrent therapy, PEMF, light therapy. These calm inflammation down and they restore membrane health, and in turn, they boost that hydration as well. Now, you can also leverage structured water. Inside the body, water doesn't just exist as its H2O form. It forms an exclusion zone, a layer that stores energy like a battery. And ways to build structured water include sunlight, infrared exposure, eating raw fruits and vegetables. These contain gel-like water instead of the more liquid water. And even just encouraging movement to stimulate that lymphatic flow that we've talked about in recent videos as well. And then mindful consumption is important too. How a patient drinks matters. Sipping water consistently throughout the day is better than chugging glasses of water. And prehydration, drinking before meals, before workouts, before they show up to get treatments from you, this primes the cells for better nutrient absorption and faster recovery. Now, this applies clinically almost across the board. Post-surgical recovery, right? Hydrated cells will knit wounds together faster. They'll reduce swelling. They'll improve scar tissue quality. Chronic pain patients can benefit too. Hydration reduces inflammation. It improves tissue pliability. It makes manual therapies like massage more effective. Athletes can also see proper hydration shortening recovery time, boosting endurance, lowering injury risk. And cancer care support. We'll be talking about this in the cancer lab later on this month. Hydrated cells, they detoxify more effectively and they sustain mitochondrial energy production. This increases resilience as well against stress and other disease. So this is a lot of information. We've talked about a lot of things today, but what sort of recap, I guess, can I do here to just try and bring all this full circle? I think first and foremost, assess that hydration beyond water intake, right? Look to electrolytes, look to inflammation, look to diet. You can guarantee if you're seeing a chronic pain patient, one of those things is going to be a problem, if not all of them. Number two is going to be to recommend mineral-rich hydration strategies that patients can stick with. Again, not just water. There are other options. Bone broth can be delicious. It's soothing on the gut. It helps with inflammation, and it's really hydrating too. Coconut water, I know it can be a little expensive, but it is something that when you really staff up the health benefits, it does often pay off. And people don't like the taste of coconut, they can flavor it with something. A little bit of juice is going to go a long way to make that palatable, and the benefits outweigh the negatives in many ways there. Support membrane and mitochondrial health with both nutrition and energy medicine. Use the tools we have at our disposal and educate patients on the how of hydration, not just the how much. The amount of times patients will say to me, how much water should I drink? It really does depend on the individual first and foremost, but having a kind of general answer of, oh, drink 8 cups a day and you'll be fine, is not going to serve them properly. They need to know what they need to take, the type of water, how, right? Instead of the how much. And when you start to address all of these factors, patients stop wasting effort drinking water that never reaches their cells, and your treatments as practitioners become more and more successful. So here is the big takeaway here, guys. Hydration isn't about pouring water into the body. It's about activating the cell's ability to absorb and, most importantly, use it. When you optimize cellular hydration, you will accelerate every aspect of healing, whether it's recovery from surgery, managing chronic pain, supporting long-term resilience against chronic disease. The difference will be profound. Every single living being on this planet needs water, and we need it on a deeper level than we know. So start applying these steps with your patients today. You will see not just faster healing, but you will see deeper, more lasting recovery. And after all, that's what we all want for everyone involved. All right, everyone. Hopefully this made sense. I'd love to hear what you think about the importance of hydration. Please do drop that below if you've got a comment, or if you have any questions or concerns, reach out to us. We're happy to help. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next week for another training. Take care. Bye-bye.